Gentlemen, I have missed you dearly.
Missed you too, Jess.
Hello.
We took...
I just saw you on Monday, though.
I know.
I like you guys, but I didn't miss you at all.
I missed you.
We're running the Princeton offense over here.
Hey, how long was that? Was that 3 weeks? 4 weeks? Who knows? I felt empty inside. I just got to say. But anyway, look, we are happy to be here from 5 Iron Golf in Fishtown, which is absolutely buzzing here on the first day of the NCAA tournament. And to make matters even better, we've got a legend in our midst here.
Another legend.
Another legend.
Another
We just keep
legend.
reeling off the legends. We got one Mike Missinelli in the house.
Give it up for Mike Miss.
What's up, Pigeons?
Mikey Miss.
Yeah, just call us pigeons, like in a
Mikey Miss.
derogatory way. I love it.
Dude, I got to tell you, this is a sophisticated setup you have here.
Have you ever seen this many wires?
Yeah, we get a soundboard here. I think Springsteen's playing or
Yeah.
something.
Our whole thing is look professional.
I wasn't used to all this live action.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Actually, the name sponsor of the podcast, a guy by the name of Mark Goodhart, who is a personal injury attorney, he actually left us earlier to go to the Springsteen show
that right?
and join the likes of John Clark and half the Philly media.
Well, and I had a chance to go, and I told him I was busy.
Oh, what a guy.
Somebody offered me a ticket. I
feel
like you're a Springsteen hater. I've heard your show in the past.
I'm not a
You do
hater.
the imitation.
I'm not a hater at all. I do the imitation with Santa Claus is coming to town.
Yeah.
Oh, cold around the ball. But no, I've seen him a few times.
So I actually forgot, as I was thinking through, the history of your show and listening to you for many years, I forgot you were always very up on the music, and so you may be a Springsteen hater, because we all know, there's an aspect of lameness to that. I'm just gonna be honest.
No,
right?
I'm a Springsteen guy, but like early Springsteen,
Early.
more than
Born to Run.
more than later. Even before that,
Before
he
Born to
had
Run.
2
Yeah, I don't
albums
know.
before that.
I don't
One was
know
called
anything about
Greetings from
Springsteen.
Asbury Park, New Jersey, and the other was The Wild, the Innocent, and East Street Shuffle. Were classic Springsteen. And as he got older, he got like Tom Joadish. Where it was everything was a ballad, and
Well, it's interesting too. These guys, he's what? I think someone I heard say he's 78 or 73.
It's amazing that
Yeah.
he still has the energy to do 3-hour shows.
And I will say this: it's funny. Sports and music are different, right? These guys, you don't lose the pipes. You get to a point where maybe you have like health issues. Maybe you do. You don't lose the pipes the way the athletes lose their, skills at the game.
See, Jesse, you don't remember that I did WMMR's morning show for a couple of years.
I remember.
You remember that?
I remember that.
All right, so you don't remember that, do you?
I can pretty much run down your entire co-hosting career.
I was in rock radio. Yeah. I had to interview all kinds of rock stars, and we played Metallica and Chevelle every other song. It was like that MMR that rocking thing.
Seeing red
so
again?
I had to hit the post and stuff. They doing radio,
Like Broadway Bill Lee?
Yeah, you talk through the intro, and it counts down 5, 4, 3, 2. Bam! Here comes the song.
Hey, we knew you were a multifaceted personality, a legend for sure. Okay, so it's amazing to have you with us. We've been on a hiatus. We had, as you can imagine, a little bit of depression to work through after the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. We did one episode to kind of like handle it, and then we took a break because we were on a heater before that. We went like World Series, and then we rolled right into Eagles. We had all these tailgates. Our families were kind of questioning what the hell we were doing with ourselves, so we really had to take a break. Everyone had to reset. So I can't think of a better way to jump back into things than with you, especially because you are now in this the next phase of your career. You are a podcaster like us. And here's my question.
Not like us. I mean,
Not like us,
come
not
on.
like us.
It's the same genre, but
Is this the second podcast that you're taping today?
I didn't do one. I'm doing one tomorrow morning because we have Doug Glanville coming on tomorrow. So we postponed it till tomorrow.
Because I knew you did Thursdays. I'm like, if this guy's doing 2 podcasts and he's coming with us,
that's 2 Penn graduates in 2 days for Jesse, and then
there you
Doug.
go. No, usually I do it on Tuesday and Thursday.
Are you including me in that mix?
Yeah.
Yeah, baby, Penn. Let's go. By the way, shout out Princeton. I saw them
about
do
that,
work
man?
all year in the Ivy League.
Yeah.
No, you did. You're a straight line. You watched Princeton games this year?
For real? I went to Penn Princeton, bro. Don't come at me like that. Okay.
I had Arizona winning it all,
Straight
so it's all. I'm done already.
What did you say?
I had Arizona winning it all.
Unbelievable.
So wait, if you're a Penn guy, do you like the Princeton one, or are you like a Princeton hater?
Here's what I know. Nobody, like, if you're a 1 seed or a 2 seed, it's one thing to draw like Furman. By the way, shout out Furman.
Yeah.
But if you draw Princeton, you're like, oh hell no! Like they're coming at you with the backdoor and all that, and like they're the one team that is smarter than you. They're gonna be able to shoot. Like you don't want to deal with Princeton. Am I right?
No, you don't. But you shouldn't lose to them either.
Especially if you're the Wildcats out in Arizona.
And you know what's funny? I've been thinking about this, Mike, and I do want to get your perspective on this. Maybe a little later in the show. When I was going to Big 5 games back in the early '90s, so my dad's been a huge Penn guy forever. Yeah. He goes to, he used to go to all the games, and I could literally, he'd be sitting in the third row, like the spittle would be like flying, and he'd be yelling at the refs, out of control. And I'd be embarrassed, like, Dad, like, this is too much. I'll never forget, like, Penn, Temple, like crazy games in the Palestra, and it's just not the same.
Gone. I covered college basketball for a lot of years for the Inquirer before I got the radio thing started. So I went to Arizona a couple times to cover games. And this is my favorite University of Arizona story. So they're playing Villanova. And it's a good game. It's going back and forth.
What year are we talking?
This is, I don't know, maybe 89 or 90. But anyway, Trump's at the game. So he's with Marla Maples at the time. Remember Marla Maples, that blonde he married? His kid,
absolutely. Yeah.
He's got a kid. That kid Barron.
I was 9.
Yeah, Barron's from him
Barron
and
is
Marla Maples.
from Marla Maples. So he's there. And he's got, this is why before he's he's just a real estate guy at the time. So he's got people protecting him, and he decides to leave at a crucial moment of the game. It's like there's 8 minutes left.
Classic Trump.
Back and forth, and Lute Olson's the coach, and he calls timeout because Villanova's pressing up.
Rest in peace, Lute Olson.
Right. So Trump decides that's the moment he's going to leave. He walks down the steps. Now, Arizona's huddle is gathered around, and Lute Olson's giving him instructions. The dude walks into the huddle.
What?
Walks into the huddle. He's got Marla's over here and 2 of his guards, and he gives him the okay sign, like everything's cool, Lute. And he just walked in the huddle. Couldn't believe it.
So arrogant.
And Olsen looks at him like, what? He leaves.
Unbelievable. All right. Well, Mike.
He's changed a lot since then.
It doesn't sound like it. All right. We know you got tons of stories, and we're looking forward to hearing a bunch of those. But I want to make sure you get acquainted with the crew, right? Because you don't really, let's be honest, you didn't really know what you're walking into here, right? You're just like, okay, Jess, yeah, sure, sounds good. Next thing you know, you're
I knew you had a crew.
Next thing you know, there's 5,000 wires underneath you.
Big crew, man. I think 2 cameras are on me.
You got the homies here.
You got a sound producer up here. You got a board.
Isn't this how it works? This is how you do it, right? Okay. By the way, I just want to say, guys, we need you to come up here and take your shot. So here's what we're gonna do. If you're watching right now, Mike has graciously agreed. He's feeling like, have you played any golf? I mean, it's been nice out.
Yeah, I ripped up my foot last summer, but it's all healed up. I've been playing.
Okay, yeah. Nice. So you're feeling kind of in the mix. I didn't know if you had any, back stuff or whatever, but you're feeling good.
I'm good.
Rocky and I, we play golf a lot. Like we'll see what happens. Anyway, point is, we got this queued up on a par 3, and we're gonna get up. Everybody's gonna come up and see how they do. I see my man Jeff out here. Tom's gonna do it. Mitch is in the house. Zoe, let's go.
Do we need to handicap this?
Wait, here's the problem.
What's your handicap?
I'm a 15.
Ooh, okay. What teams you playing from? You playing from the whites or the blues?
Playing from the whites.
I play for the whites.
All right.
You going to the whites?
Yeah, no, I play the white one.
No, but
which is right down
different.
the street from.
The whites are not the. Okay. Look at this. This looks like
you're
17.
stealing questions from the segment, Rob.
Oh, that's cool. Is that what we're gonna play?
Yeah. Look, watch this. Here we go. Tom, Aleko, you got this. Oh, that looked like Scald. Yeah,
that's water. That's water.
Oh
God.
So what's the yardage on that shot?
That yardage is
it's like 108. 108, I think it is.
108.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody's going to try that, and we're going to see how we do against Mikey.
108.
Okay. It's like
recommending a 5 iron.
Okay.
It's like beat the pro, so that's what we're going to do. All right, but I want to make sure you understand where everybody's come from. Meech and Fink are from the Northeast. Now you're from kind of
we're Burns
Bristol.
Golf Club.
I'm from Bristol, which is up there. But I was in that neighborhood today.
It's Northeast adjacent right there.
School.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Reading my book.
That's right. You
nice.
got a book.
I got
the
children's
dog
book. No, it's a dog book.
Sheba, right? Book. Is that right?
So I was at an elementary school called Greenberg. You know that? Yeah. Greenberg? You know that?
Yeah, absolutely know Greenberg.
Okay. That's where I was.
I
was up that way.
I went to Comley and then Baldy. Greenberg was right in the mix of Baldy schools.
All right.
No idea what you're talking about, but sounds great.
You don't know Philadelphia public school history,
You're a
Jesse.
blue blood, man. This guy's a hardcore Northeast guy.
Yeah.
So you say that he's a blue blood, but I went to the same high school as Jess.
Wait, who's a blue blood?
You are.
What private high school was that?
Penn Charter. Let's go. Fight harder. Fight harder.
I didn't go to Penn Charter.
Yeah.
See, I went to Archbishop Ryan. but it was because I was at Baldy Middle School, the public school, and all my friends from St. Chris were getting kicked out of St. Chris and were going to Baldy. And then they'd be like, yeah, we're going to Ryan, so why don't you just come to Ryan with us? I was like, yeah, I'll do that.
Oh, Ryan's legendary.
Yeah.
All right, so we got two of the Northeast finest here. And then Rock grew up in Mount Airy in the Northwest. I'm East Falls, which is kind of the Northwest. So, that's what we're doing. I will say this. Everybody knows I was a spoiled brat with the silver spoon. I'm not going to lie about that. But Rock, he keeps it real.
I came from a modest background, middle class.
He earned it. There's no doubt about it.
I wouldn't say I'm from the streets, but I'm close to the pavement. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. So Mike, I was saying to you earlier, I think this is very interesting because your whole career, not your whole career, but once you really start going, you spend time interviewing people. You had a lot of guests on the radio, and now with your podcast, you had some amazing guests. Stephen A. Smith last week, amazing. Wonderful episode, by the way. Check out the Mike Missinley podcast.
Stephen A. Smith wasn't just a guest on a show; he was a co-host.
Yeah, I co-hosted the show with him. That was
that was one of the only times in my life I used to listen to New York radio was when Mike and Stephen A. were
cool,
together.
man. Yeah, I used to. Stephen's a great guy.
He's awesome.
But to work with him, it's like you would never know where he was. Like I'd show up in New York. I'm in New York. He's not there. Right. So I go into the studio. I go, where's Steven? I don't know. I think he's in Detroit. He went to an NBA game last night. I'm trying to find a studio for him. But it was like that all the time.
You know what is so funny you say that? Because somehow, some way, I was talking to my dad, and he said he became friends with Steven because they both went to the place Video Link. Have you ever been to Video Link?
No. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a couple hits there. Yeah.
So Video Link is this like secret studio down in Center City by
my
Rittenhouse.
buddy Mark Magawan is the video guy there.
Boom. There
Are
you
you
go.
guys? Are you giving away the secret right now?
Yeah. No. But my dad and Stephen
I think
A.
it's Magawan.
Hey, shout out Magawan. But
I
look,
just know how it's spelled. I don't know
they
how
were
to pronounce
like
it.
Stephen A. Smith would be finished like an ESPN hit, and my dad would be coming in to do like a CNN hit in there.
I did a CNN hit. Believe it or not, I was on CNN a couple times.
Well, multifaceted.
Yeah,
we talked about this.
I forget what the topic was. It must have been important.
Unbelievable. Well, there are so many, you've been in the business for so long. I find everything about your career really fascinating. And, I really want to talk to you about the evolution of kind of sports radio in our city. Philly has obviously become known as one of the biggest sports radio cities in the country. That's existed for many, many years. And you have been in so many different capacities within that it's very interesting to me. And really what I think of immediately is when you started at The Fanatic, when the station was really
that was all you, man. You launched The Fanatic. That was like...
Yeah, they really appreciated it, too. No, but see, here's the thing about the evolution of sports radio. It's happened by accident for all of us. Right. And so if you go back to when it started, we were all members of the Inquirer sports staff. Angelo, myself, Al Morgani, Glenn Magda, we were just sports writers. And we started doing... WIP starts in 90 or 91, whatever it is, and we got together our own show because Tom Brookshire was the morning host, and he didn't want to do 4 hours. So he said, I'll get these guys in the newspaper because we were doing weekend stuff. Get these guys and do 1 hour of the show from 9 to 10. So we did. We got all together. We call it the Morning Sports Page. So we would go on and talk about the stuff we're covering and the Philly sports scene, the whole bit. And that just kind of evolved, and like they poached every one of us. And Angelo was the first guy to go. And I tell you about Angelo was like the most serious sports writer ever. He was just relentless, like trying to get the story. And I remember he got pissed off because the editors tried to mess with one of his stories. And he said, I'm done. And and they offered him the full-time morning job, and he took it. It was just that's what happened. When he started, we all went, oh man, like what? Maybe we should all do this. And one by one, they offered me out of the blue the evening drive slot. I was doing a weekend show with Stan Hochman. They liked it, and all of a sudden they go, all right, we're gonna put you on evening drive, and we're gonna pair you with Steve Fredericks. And that's how it started. I took a chance. It was like a 1-year contract. It was like $30,000 more than I was making at the Inquirer. God, what do I have to lose? And I had a law degree in my pocket at the time. So, and it just happened by accident. I could never say to people.
Ended up being one of the greatest shows in Philadelphia sports talk history. I mean, honest to God, you and Steve I grew up listening to you guys. You were it was just such a great pairing, the way you would interact not only with each other but with the callers. It was truly like you can't predict something like that. It just happens.
He was
organically.
a radio professional, and he allowed me to be a wise ass, and that's the only way it would have worked. Because he could have said, "Yeah, dude, I've been on radio for 100 years. Like he's this new kid on the block." He was really receptive to it, and he let me, be the crazy one.
Right. So at the time, it was like, file motions, write briefs, bill hours, or talk about sports. That kind of seems like a bit of a no-brainer. I mean, I know you weren't getting paid as much.
No, but here's how I got the law degree when I was working at the Inquirer. Okay. So when I graduated, I by a miracle passed the bar because I wasn't really expecting to pass it the first time, and it came in November. And I got the notice, so I'm ready. I thought the Inquirer was going to put their staff together to do libel law cases and things like that. And they were delegating their legal stuff out there. So I was ready to leave the paper. And they said, would you stay on for another year to cover college basketball? And I go, what? Yeah, we need a college basketball guy. You fly all over the country, important national games, whatever. And your first assignment's in Maui.
Oh,
they may have covered a Maui Classic.
The Maui Invitational.
And I go, what? And they go, yeah, just go out there for like 8 days. The Maui Classic is out there. Villanova's playing out there, and so that's what kept me.
Yeah, they sucked you in with that one.
Newspapers. Yeah, and that's how radio came from that.
The newspapers don't send people.
They probably haven't sent anyone to Maui.
No, and they were the golden days of newspapers. Yeah, they had budgets, and they didn't care what we put on it. I remember I was drinking a rum punch on a beach in Hawaii, looking at Malachi, and I'm just like putting drinks on the tap. Boom, boom, boom. It's a legendary story of Al Morgani because he would do the same thing. He covered the Flyers. He was the hockey beat writer. So he turned in an expense report one. I swear to God, this is a true story. It was a one sheet of paper, and it said Western Canadian hockey trip, $3,500. That's it. That was his expense account.
It wasn't itemized.
They didn't question it.
Right. Well, back then everybody was getting the paper delivered to their house, right? You could charge them whatever you want.
It was a thriving industry at the time.
So it's funny. I wasn't thinking back that far, but it's interesting. I mean, you were there for the beginning. You were there for, the beginning of WIP to become like what it became. And then at a certain point, you had gone, I guess, to New York, and then came back to do the Fanatic to kind of challenge WIP. I mean, that's the most interesting thing to me because all of us growing up, it was WIP. There was nothing else. And then all of a sudden, it's like there's this Fanatic, and you're kind of like, what the hell is this? And they're like, Mike Missinelli's on there, and you start listening to that, and you're like, well, this is kind of cool. That whole thing is like very interesting.
Yeah, well, you're being kind because the reason I got to New York in the first place is because I lost the job at WIP because I had an altercation with the producer.
What happened?
So, and believe me, like he deserved it. I'll say, like people say, "Do you regret it?" No, he deserved it. So I got let go, like surprisingly let go after that show that it happened. And so I was out of work for a couple of years, and then this idea came for me to go up and co-host the show with Stephen A. So I went up to New York for a couple of years, and then the Fanatic was just in the infancy stages of trying to do something, and they kind of lured me back to do Evening Drive, and that's how I got back to Philly.
So before we go,
real quick. By the way, we had an intro for the show. It was Meech's brainchild. We were going to ask you to fake punch Fink and take him out.
About this one.
Here's the thing. I don't think I ever made contact with a punch. I think I kind of
sounds like the fights I've been in.
I think I kind of grabbed him and roughed him up. He caught. I don't know. He deserved it.
Hey, it's water under the bridge.
The guy was out of control. So.
Yeah, that'll happen.
So how was it being in New York, being a Philadelphian your whole life, reporting on New York stuff? How did you feel about that?
It's a great question because I always say this to people. Philly is so much more intense sports talk radio-wise than New York. New York's got this reputation, but they're so diluted because the loyalties are diluted. Like they're Jets Giants and they're Mets Yankees, and so you don't get a full thrust. Like I was up there, Eli Manning, I made him my pet project to bury because he was like all over the place. He was like up and down. This is before they actually won the Super Bowl. Right. But that's the kind of thing I would drive in Philly, and everybody would get on board. Yeah, you know what they did McNabb here, right? Yeah. Eli Manning was like a guy that was so infuriating to me because he was just so
nonchalant. He's a dummy.
So
pretty much.
But the New Yorkers don't get involved like that, like Philly guys did.
Did you find up in New York, by the way? Like I try to make sense of the loyalties. Like, there are some kind of splits, like Jets, Giants, like, Jets are more like, fans.
Blue collar.
No, blue collar, yeah. The Giants, is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Giant fans think they're blue bloods because the tickets are passed on generations of rich people.
Right.
Down the line because the tickets are expensive and you got to pay big fees and the licenses like, these legacy licenses that just get passed through the family. So, yeah, there's definitely that.
Well, and
the Yankees and Mets, the same thing. It's the same dynamic, really.
Yeah. I mean, it's like any city that has so many people that are transient. You know what I mean? You can't really build kind of what we have in Philly. I just don't think you can replicate it.
No, it's the most intense sport. I traveled a lot and I would listen to sports talk radio. This is the top city for sports talk radio.
Absolutely.
Now, you might think people are nuts, and they are, and like they're ridiculous sometimes, and they're stupid sometimes, but they're also passionate about it. They get involved in it. And I wish somebody would do a sociological study on why that is. I'm trying to figure it out, like why sports means so much to people in this town.
Because I'm a pretty even-keeled guy. Like I'm pretty aware of my surroundings. But I am so crazy when it comes to sports, and I can't help it. It's something in me.
Man, looking at your Twitter feed, you seem real balanced.
Listen, I am. I think I'm a pretty even-keeled guy. I know what's going on. But I can't help myself when it comes to sports.
It's such an important part of people's lives. It really is. And I don't know what that
it
says about their lives.
Right.
Maybe you need something else to fill a hole. But
look, I got a great wife. I got 5 kids. I got a lot of stuff to fulfill me, but it still drives me fucking crazy.
I can see it. Listen, I talked to people for 30 years.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of them were unreasonable and just over the top.
Let me ask you, with your new, with the podcast thing, you can't take phone calls.
No.
Do you miss that?
Yeah. I miss the interaction
because you were great. I mean, you were great with callers.
I like
because
I love
how you.
Like one of the things. One of the challenges being at sports like is you can fuck with a caller, and when you do that, they don't. The best thing is they don't know when you're doing it.
Yeah, right.
And so you kind of amuse yourself.
And you were great at it, and you did it almost like in a lawyer fashion, to where they didn't know what was going. It was very impressive, and especially with the
I
miss that
a lot. This is a completely different like podcasting. I had no concept of what it was about. They offered me this thing and they said, "Here's what you do." And so I just talk now, but I fill it with guests. But I kind of do the same thing with the podcast because I'm like all over the place. Like I use sports as a hub, but I'll talk about life, and more people remember that kind of conversation than they would anything about sports.
The most popular thing that we ever did that got the most engagement is we had a debate. 2 things. One, we had the debate about how to pronounce Roosevelt Boulevard because Meech was saying Roosevelt, which is a weird thing to say. And then we debated whether you put pickles on your chicken sandwich. That was huge. So
really?
You just never know.
What, is that what Roosevelt? Is that how you say it in the Northeast?
I say Roosevelt Boulevard, but if you ask me who the president is, I'd say Teddy Roosevelt. Yeah, it's just Roosevelt Boulevard. It's
but that's from your background growing up there?
Yeah, it's how I was that's how I was taught. It was just where are you going? It's Roosevelt Mall. We're going to Roosevelt Boulevard.
In Philly, somehow it's endearing to people that you deliberately speak in a way that makes no sense at all. You know what I mean?
I got, buddy. Be honest with you, I'm pissed off at that Morgan guy, that lawyer from
John Morgan. So he's not even credited in Philadelphia.
Got a new one out there. I saw today. What was it?
Use hurt.
Yeah, used.
Yeah.
I was up in his is used. Yeah. Come on, dude.
He's not even an accredited lawyer in Philadelphia. He's in Florida.
But that's okay. Listen, here's the deal. Here's the deal. You are bringing me to a topic I want to discuss, but I didn't think it was meaningful enough, but you just led me right to it. I think we need to agree on the proper spelling of use, okay? Because they're doing it Y-O-U-S-E, which is like the word you and the word use, like use you together. And I just thought you'd tack an S.
You just throw an S on the end.
Yeah, so it should be.
Where's you guys with me on this?
That dude's a fraud. So I was up in New York this past weekend, and I'm walking around Brooklyn, and I look up and I see a billboard, and I'm like, that's John Morgan. But he's completely playing to the New York crowd. He's got a Yankees jersey on. He's got a New York hat on. I'm like, this dude's a fraud.
He's shameless. He don't care.
He's just pandering to whatever.
And by the way,
let
me take this opportunity to say, if you do get injured, forget Morgan & Morgan. You need to reach out to Mark Goodhart and the Goodhart Firm at thegoodhartfirm.com to handle any personal injury needs. employment issues that you have.
That was smooth.
Boom. That's
well
how
done.
we do
Like
it.
that segue,
That was
Missinelli.
beautiful. Really good. That was really good.
That's like,
Well done.
that's like telling Jason Stark's Everfresh juices.
That's like listening. That's like listening to New York radio instead of listening to your local Philly radio. Right? Get somebody who understands you. All right? It's ridiculous. Okay.
Mike, by the way, not to interrupt you, Jesse, one of my favorite radio segments of all time is the White Boy Report from back in the day.
It's hard to do that now.
Yeah, you can't do it now. Like, is it going to offend somebody?
Is that similar to our?
He would run down the box scores of the NBA every night and say which white guy did the best on each team.
Yeah,
and it was entertaining.
Usually be a guy
it was
scored
funny.
4 points. Like it was the total.
Can I tell
shtick
you
of
something?
nobody.
For some reason, the guy that my dad, and you remember, there's the tweet about my dad tweeted about Doug McDermott and Joel Embiid. You know, like freezing cold takes. They put that up everywhere because my dad tweeted when the Sixers drafted Embiid. Like, great pick with Embiid, but Doug McDermott was there, and everyone's like, my dad loves Doug McDermott like nobody else. Dougie Buckets.
He's still in the NBA, by the way.
Yeah,
It's not a bad take.
Every year, my dad will be like, "Hey, did you see what Doug McDermott did?" I'm like, "No, what team is the guy even
actually
on?"
a horrible take,
It's
but
unbelievable.
There was also a guy, Jimmer Fredette. Remember him?
Jimmer, yeah.
Like, I looked at him. I
Wait,
go,
with
he
that stash?
can't guard my mother. And he's trying to play in the NBA.
By the way,
Yeah.
That's a BYU boy.
related. Meech, you tweeted about this. The dude Timmy. He's been at Gonzaga for 7 years. He's still
Timmy.
there.
Still there. Well, you know what? He's
gonna go to
looked
Europe.
at the draft.
He took up residency
and he
in
knew he wasn't gonna
Gonzaga.
be, he was a second-round pick, so he came back for the 7th year and tried to become a first-round draft pick. And I saw a projection. He's still a second-rounder. So he's having fun at Gonzaga.
Yeah,
he's
man.
He's probably killing it.
Mike, you excited about your Penn State basketball squad?
What is it? 10:30 tonight?
Yeah.
You'll keep me up late.
jeez.
I can't.
You can
I'm
stay here.
stunned by that whole thing.
What
It's
time's this
really,
place
it's
close?
unbelievable, and it looks like they can easily win tonight. I mean,
They can beat that team. I took a
Outright.
like they won the first game of the tournament.
outright.
And I pounded Northwestern the next game. I go, there's no way they beat. Like, it's going to end right there. And then they kept winning and winning. God bless them.
So, Mike, just
they're
real
going to
quick.
lose their coach now.
Mike,
Yeah.
real quick, can you just talk about the transition from just traditional radio to podcasting? Like, how do you feel about it? What do you think about like the future of podcasting in general? 'Cause
What do you probably know better than I do. Well, what's the future? But like, it seems like the podcasting is the future.
Hey, for better or worse, anybody can start something and do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
well, you can
here
start
we
seeing
are.
podcasts. Like, I'm different because they pay me a handsome salary to do it, right?
Yeah, we're not getting
But
paid.
people that are startup podcasts and you have to find the revenue streams and all that stuff.
Yeah,
that's
it's gotta be-
hard.
it's
It's
tough,
hard,
man.
Hey,
So,
we've been on that hamster wheel, but you know what the truth is, Mike? People ask me why I do this, and it's really about nights like tonight, like getting friends together. We had a series of 3 tailgates at the Eagles games where we did a live podcast, and honestly, I just enjoyed like people coming together and having fun so much that like obviously you want to like try to not lose money, you know what I mean? But it's a good time, and appreciate everybody for coming out, supporting it, and it's been
Here's the
fun
thing
for
that I
us.
do with the podcast. Like, I have my computer, I'm on the screen, and my producer's on the screen. My producer is a guy that I used to
Artie
work
Lang.
with. No, his name is Darren DiGattano.
He sounds like Artie
He was
Lang.
one of my producers way back in the day at WOP. So he's on the screen, I'm on the screen. And I'm talking like I'm talking to an audience. So, like, I'll throw him in just like I used to throw producers
Right.
in, Tyrone or whatever, whoever
Yeah.
my producer, just to get feedback and then disagree with him. Right? That's how I...
just to disagree with them.
Right. because
Like, here,
that's
give
it.
me your opinion, just so I could yell at you about
Yeah,
it.
so it's like a caller that I'm
Right.
messing with.
Yeah.
So I've tried to do that instead of just talking for
Yeah.
Mike Francesa is one of the guys that does the Bet Rivers podcast in New York. They've gone all over the country and they've gotten well-known people from big cities and they're having them do a podcast. But he's probably like, I haven't heard his podcast, but I can't imagine that he's having fun doing it. So I try to have fun.
He doesn't even have fun
And
in
just-
his radio show.
And
I
just
actually
mess
saw
around
his
with it.
ad, and he's like, "Check out the podcast." I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I got a
He's
feeling.
just yelling at
Yeah.
you, like his opinion of the sports thing, and I'll do that. But I like I'll branch off and I'll go, little different segments like Mike Unleashed, where I'll talk about completely different things.
Oh, you have a. Oh, we have a segment called Mike Unleashed.
Do you really?
No, I'm just kidding.
I
So you-
told him earlier, I said, how about in the middle of the episode, we go to Mike Unleashed and say it's me and pretend it's our original segment.
We're all about dicking around. That's all we do.
We like messing
Yeah,
with people.
I
is our-
forget what I talked about. I had 3 different things I talked about, and I don't think any of them had to do with sports.
All right. Well,
so
hopefully
I just
get,
wing it.
We can get a little bit of Mike Unleashed.
You
at
enjoying
some
the
point
freedom
here.
a little bit more? Like, you can pretty much just I think you can pretty much just talk about what you like to, whatever you want.
Yeah, I use because listen, at the World Series, I was doing a podcast every day when the World Series was on, and when
That's a lot.
And the Eagles Super Bowl, I was doing one every day. Now it's back to just 2 days a week.
Nope.
So I just kind of plan it in my head, write it down, and just go by a script that I write for myself.
Let me ask you a question about that. You're used to every show you ever did your whole entire life was live, and it was they got immediate feedback, like what I just did. Now, podcasts are different. Like, I might do a podcast, and someone might not listen to it until they go on their run on Saturday morning. So it's like you got to change your whole style of what you're going to present content-wise. Like, do you think about that, or
Yeah. It is a different. You hit on the biggest difference. Like I try to make it as timely as possible, and like Tuesday and Thursday is a good time to do it because by Tuesday there's another thing happening on Thursday. But yeah, it's like I try to make it evergreen where it's I talk more not like a specific play. But in general, like I was just down in Philly spring training.
right? Because I always think about doing that. Like we're live right now. I don't know how many people are watching live, but people might watch it 2 days from now, and like then is the subject
difference.
matter going to
Yeah.
be relevant? It's a tough way to approach podcasts.
And I got to say, like, starting this and thinking about what's the best way to do it, we've struggled with that a little bit because, when you do something evergreen, you can put it out whenever. But in sports, it's like if something happens a day or two later, it's pretty much done.
Yeah, well, here's an example. I was doing the Eagles postgame show this year. It was also a streaming show. It was on 6abc.com. So I was doing it with Seth Joyner and Derek Gunn. And some games were just, we're doing a 2.5-hour show. So like the guy who's for Jacob Media is the company, the guy who's producing it, I go, Joe, nobody's going to be listening to this after the first hour and a half. And he goes, yeah, but they'll be listening during the week. And that's the thing I don't, that streaming thing, where it's always available.
Yeah.
I would do a show and I'm gone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I forget, that day is on a shelf somewhere. And then you start fresh. But podcast is different. I'm still kind of getting used to that.
And podcasts, someone might catch up to your show like 20 shows ago and listen to 20 in a row. You don't know how they're going to
Yeah, well,
receive.
like I did one with Angelo Cataldi that a lot of people liked. And that was like months ago. And I'll see a tweet. Mike, just listen to your Angelo interview. I'm going,
Yeah.
all right.
Like, holy shit, I did that 2 months ago. I got new shit, man.
What's funny? We did that. I just like every once in a while I see these comments come up on YouTube, and I just got one like yesterday, and it was for a show we did months ago where we talked about how Fish were like, do these guys even play songs? They're just jamming the whole time. That's the one where people keep coming back because I don't know how they find it, but they get all pissed off that we said, Fish doesn't play songs. We're like, they played 13 nights, different songs every night in Madison Square Garden.
Great. It's a great concept.
I think that was me that said that.
The truth is,
you
Gotta be honest, that was me. I dug that comment up. And
I forgot to include Devin. You're dating Devin, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah, that's right. Because she brought some hoagies from your place one.
That's
one,
right.
How'd you
one
enjoy
show.
the hoagies?
They were great, man.
That's what I love to
They're
hear.
fantastic.
What
Yeah,
Fink's
so I
got some
forgot
good
that was
hoagies.
part
Wait,
of
what did
that
they-
show we did also.
the hoagies were essential. It's voted by Philly Mag, right?
Yes.
Essential.
They were
hoagies.
key because Ocean Casino used to serve us the same stuff every week.
She
They
told
were
us this
killing
story,
us.
by the way. So
Yeah,
Devin has
really?
been on the podcast multiple times. She told us the story. It was really funny because she was like talking about the food there, and then she kind of realized like she was like almost like starting to kind of disparage the food they were getting free. Nothing against the food there, but it was great to have these hoagies. Now, Devin, friend of the program.
Yeah, they got to step that up.
yeah, I'm sorry to
If you ever need
interrupt this
hoagies, though, you
podcast.
hit me up.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt this
cool.
podcast, but my son Max just won his championship game in the rec league.
Let's go, Matt.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
8th grade. It was his last game ever in rec league, and I missed it just to be on this podcast.
Well,
and
I
I
don't-
feel guilty, but I want to shout him out. He's an incredible player, and I love him. And
Where's he going for high
did
school?
good. He's going to Holy Ghost for high school.
That's my high school rival.
Going to be a freshman year.
Should have went to Judge.
next year.
Bristol Holy Ghost was
He's
the big
looking
rival.
to break the scoring record from Jimmy Dillon. Most
All right,
points
well,
ever at Holy Ghost.
At Holy Ghost.
I mean, last night I coached the Kendrick team with my daughter on it to the championship game. Let's not get into all the personal accolades. It's not important.
I just
Okay.
had to interrupt this broadcast because I missed his game. So
Let me say this.
The very least I could do is
We thank you for your loyalty to the City Pigeons Podcast, Meech, and we apologize to Max, although great accomplishment.
I neglect my family specifically for the City Pigeons Podcast.
Unbelievable, and we love you for that. All right, so let's get this program back on track. Real quick, I did want to hear about something because Mike, you are a veteran media personality. You are totally bona fide. We're working our way up, and we have our own correspondent over here in Mr. Eric Fink, who, by the way, attended the Maxwell Awards last week. Okay, so we didn't get a report from him, and I need to hear from him.
Oh,
Fink,
nice.
what's the deal? Were you at the Maxwell Awards, Mike?
I was not.
Okay, it was in the Poconos. It's usually in Atlantic City, right?
It was in the Poconos?
It was in the Poconos.
Yeah, they had, it's first year ever they had the Mohegan
right?
Poconos. Yeah.
It's usually in Atlantic City. Right?
They must have made some money to hang out to the Poconos.
Yeah. So Fink,
Yeah, it's usually in Atlantic
It was
City.
at Skirmish in Jim Thorpe, PA.
paintball. All right, Fink, what's your report from the Maxwell Awards? I'm interested to hear this.
It was good.
It was good.
That's a great report. Thank you,
Fink.
Fink.
We had so when we checked into the hotel, I had Nick Sirianni behind me. So I apologized to Coach Nick because I forgot my wallet in the car. So we were checking in. I held him up in the checkout
You had
line.
to run back and get it?
I had to run in. He didn't look too happy.
He's
with
definitely
it.
cursing you.
Yeah, he was like, my kids are sleeping in the car. That was sorry,
no.
Coach Nick. I apologize.
He's like
for
some
that.
Andy Samberg motherfucker held us up for 30 minutes.
But Mark Frazetta was the host, great host.
did well.
Devin Caney was a co-host. She was pretty decent.
Yeah, we heard her.
Yeah,
She was good.
Yeah, she was good out there.
Yeah. Oh, Devin is in the chat, right? And she says, "What's up to Mike?" Yeah, all right.
But we had a good time. I seen Ray Diddy up there.
Ray
was
Diddy,
talking to
our
Ray
boy.
Diddy for a
Let's
little
go.
bit. Jalen Hurts had a good speech.
Did he?
Talking about how he treats football like his women, tender love and care. I like that one.
Wow. I didn't know where that was going.
Yeah,
but I like that.
He had his family there. His mom was excited. She said
Beautiful.
his mom yelled out it was just the beginning.
Love
So
that. New
Whole-
norm.
The whole family's all in.
Awesome. Well,
BG was up there. Sirianni.
was that before or after he did his deal? Do you know?
I think it was.
Like right when it was
I think it was
happening?
afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very
them
good.
two walked off. Like we went towards the stage.
I
They
feel
walked
like
off
I was
behind
there.
each other.
Like this report, I feel like I'm at the Maxwell.
I had the beef. The beef was pretty good. Maybe they can work on their fish
Wait.
dishes.
Did you go scan while you were up there? Did you
No.
and Dad go scan?
Was it a
Strictly
buffet or
business,
was it
strictly
a
business.
sit-down dinner?
It was sit-down dinner.
Sit down?
Yeah, it was nice.
All right. Well, that's Fink's report from the Maxwell Awards. Thank you, Fink.
I had a great time. Thank you.
No, that's funny. That's funny. Okay, so let's get it back to you, Mike, and your career, because there was one thing that we touched on briefly that I wanted to bring it back to. You know that we, as a fan base, have developed a reputation for overreacting, right? Often in a negative way. And I think it's fair to say that most people would agree there have been personalities throughout the years who have fed into that, who have helped, who have used that to their advantage and have fed into that. But I never felt like that was really your approach. I think there's a big difference in today's kind of like art of the take world where somebody's coming in and they might have like an opinion, but they know like that's just going to get people like pissed off. And like I didn't feel like you were doing that. Do you think of yourself as different from that? Like, do you think there were people who were doing that? And like, how did that make you feel? I thought it was kind of disingenuous.
I try to be as honest as possible with my opinion. When people mock Philadelphia from outside Philadelphia, it's because they're lazy ass. They're just lazy journalistic people who want to just take a narrative because it's really easy to hold on to Philadelphia as bad
Santa
narrative.
Claus, blah, blah, blah.
Right. So I've had like 2-story confrontations on the radio.
Pretty much the Skip Bayless one's the class.
Skip Bayless
Google me.
and Wilbon. and like I tore into Wilbon. Like,
Yeah, that was great.
Nobody's business because
He deserved it.
This is an example. Like, and it was about Kobe Bryant. I hate to say it now that he's passed away, but Kobe Bryant was a pain in the ass towards Philadelphia for a while, and so like they booed him at the All-Star game. It was in Philly, and I forget what year it was, but they booed him because he had come out and said he's disconnected to Philly. He's no longer a Philly guy. He's L.A. all the way, and blah, 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 blah. So, like, you know how Philly people are. They're provincial like that. They take something like that, it's an insult to them because they already kind of feel insecure.
Right.
Because you're between Washington and New York, and that thing will set them off. So a journalist should understand that part of it. And so he's ripping Philadelphia bad because they booed Kobe Bryant. I can't believe it. He's from Philadelphia, and they booed him. And he didn't understand the issue, so I just ripped into him. And I said, you're a disingenuous guy, blah, blah, blah. And he wound up hanging up on us. and then Bayless with the same thing. Yeah. He covered the Dallas Cowboys for a while for a newspaper before he got to be this fraud that he is now. And he had the same narrative. Philadelphia, they throw stuff at fans throw stuff at people. So it irritates me. Not because I'm trying to be provincial, because it's unfair.
Right? Yeah, it's not true.
And I tried to fight it for so many years, and then I just said, you know what, F them.
But what about guys from Philly though that were on the air here that kind of leaned into that perception for their own good? You know what I'm saying?
Well, give me an example of that.
Well, I think honestly, if I'm being honest, I think Angelo from time to time was, look, I don't know what the approach was when you're preparing for the show or whatever, but I think when people get into trouble is when they come to the show with an opinion that is solely trying to get people, to respond as opposed to what you actually feel.
Well, he had to do that.
Yeah, maybe you have to do that.
He's a morning show host, which was different than what I did on Evening Drive, and he, a lot of his show, even though he was, honest, but he performance art is more on a morning show than it would be on an afternoon show. So maybe he did do that. So you're just talking about media, or are you talking about people out in fans?
No. I'm talking about how people in the media kind of played to the fact that we were, perceived to be this overreacting negative fan base and tried to kind of,
he did that. He did it. I mean, the greatest example of that is when he took 30 guys up to the NFL draft and they booed.
That was disgraceful.
And then your dad was involved in that one, right?
I mean, we had politicians doing this. So, it's terrible.
Yeah. So I mean, he pushed that kind of an envelope. So I never did. I was not about that at all. I wanted to give my honest opinion all the time, whether it was positive or negative. And I always thought it was unfair that Philadelphia got picked on because, listen, they lean into sports. Yeah, and a lot of it
when you're a morning show, you have to be over the top. You can't. I don't begrudge him for that the McNabb thing. I think it was misdirected, but you can't begrudge him for that. He was just trying. Listen, it's a morning show. You got to get ratings and Jesus Christ. That did wonders for him. Everyone we're still talking about it today.
In his defense, when the mayor got involved and got on board, he was like, "Oh, we're gonna ride this thing,"
Absolutely.
Your dad was the Ricky Williams guy of all time.
Yeah,
unbelievable. That, and he always thinks he's going to be remembered for Helping Wing Bowl happen. You know what I mean?
But the fans are here. There's such sky is falling people, and you go, I get it. I get why your sky is falling. We're the fourth largest market, and we haven't won to that extent. Right. So people are used to not winning, and that fuels their insecurities, and that fuels what, oh my God, they could be up 2-0 in a series, and they lose the next game. Oh my God, we're going to lose the series now. They stink. I've read so many tweets of when the Sixers lose a game. This coach has to go. Right? It's just how they respond. Their DNA is such that they can't handle a setback.
That's definitely a
because
Meech
the setback means the sky's falling.
Right.
I have a question off the fans thing. So you're talking about how we're perceived as we're booing sand and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Don't you think the fans should just lean into that? We're this mean people and group instead of being so sensitive about it.
Probably the best way, but we're not sane here.
I try to get people to lean into it. Hey, we are crazy. I want them to think that. I don't want you to come into our town, but Right. Do you think the fans should lean more into that? And then
I do, but it's never going to happen because that takes logic,
right? Yeah.
Right,
which we don't have.
Right, we
as
don't.
I don't have it. I don't have it.
I'm out there. I want people to be scared of our fan. We did. Yeah, we boot sand and we threw snowballs. Don't come to our town. I think we should just lean into being villains.
That's
more.
one thing, but you have to also assume that we're logical, and we're not. So let's just take everything.
You're a well-adjusted young man.
Criticism.
Right? You're a well-adjusted, logical, intelligent young man.
Let's take the criticism and then just react how we want to react when we have to. I'd rather do that.
It bothers me more when people outside have an opinion. I don't care how the fans act here. I'll call an idiot an idiot.
Right.
A guy who's going to dump popcorn on a basketball player is a jerk off. So I'll say that on the. In fact, I use those words I think on the air.
Yeah. you can use those words on the air. You can use whatever your words you want here.
I can use anything here. Yeah, on the air, it was
anything you want.
It was tougher.
So I always remembered in the beginning of your show, like sound off, right? It was like I would always be wanting to catch sound off. And Meech was saying he had something that he thought you came up with as well. The brackets, right? Meech,
I used to do the Field of 64.
I don't have any proof of it, but I've known since I've been listening to you that you started doing brackets for stuff other than
ordinary life.
I think snacks, was
candy,
maybe
cereal.
Yeah.
I went to a grocery store with a notepad.
Right.
And I'm
writing
I swear to God, I'm like an idiot. It's like, it's like 8 o'clock at night.
He's in here and he's
I'm trying to get 64 cereals. I'm going down the line, and like people are looking at me like
he's walking down the aisle. He's like, Frosted Flakes. That's probably a 2 seed.
That's exactly what I was doing.
But how many?
What are they? An 8th seeds Frosted Flakes?
They were pretty high seed.
Yeah, it's higher than 8 seeds. It's ridiculous. How many bits or like segments do you feel like you came up with that ultimately ended up getting stolen? Because like sound off, now every show has an iteration of that now.
On sound off. Well, why do you? I never thought like why do people like sound off? Because it was just like I'm taking calls all day. It's just a call. Well, why was sound off?
You know why? Because
it's your reaction to it.
Really?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's why I listened.
I'll tell you why.
Also, they don't have to talk to anyone. It's just a voicemail. When you can scream at a voicemail, it's much different than.
Yeah, people felt like they had their own stage and platform.
Yeah.
And you remember, people would get theatrical and they start to do their own things.
Yeah.
It was very different than just basic calls.
Yeah.
And by the way, only certain things were chosen to be a part of it. You know?
Well,
so
we used to get a lot of calls, so the producers would have to go through the ones
not that.
I would never hear it, so that's the first time I was hearing it, and so my first reaction, I guess, is what Rock is talking about. Yeah. But the other bit I came up, the other one that people steal in '93 with the Phillies, I'm the one who came up with Macho Row. Now everybody uses it with that team. Like Macho Row, I used to go into the clubhouse and I still can see it. Like Darren Dalton had 2 lockers, and then Mitch Williams weaseled his way in there somehow. I don't know, because the pitcher had no business. And then it was Dykstra, Kruk, Incaviglia, and Hollins. And that was a whole row of lockers. So I call them Macho Row. And people used that, like, stole it from me for years.
That's still used today.
Yeah. So that was like
the radio industry is kind of like, I guess maybe like football. So it's like a copycat type thing, right? So you're claiming the Field of 64, any kind of random bracket during March Madness time is the Mike Missinelli thing.
You know who stole it? I'm going to tell you who stole that idea. Colin Cowherd. Now, I like Colin.
Call him out.
And I know him, and I've had him on my show. But his producer was once my producer at WIP. So all of a sudden I hear, all of a sudden he's doing one. I'm going, what? Where does that come from? And then I realized that his producer, Vince Cates, was my producer back in the day. So I said, hey, Colin.
Where'd you get that at?
Why don't you try to do this thing? And it never gave me credit for it. In fact, I called Vince. I go, Vince, what the F? What are you doing, man? At least Colin's got to, throw me a bone.
Is that expected in the industry though? So it's like we're trying to come up with stuff all the time. We're like, well, we can't use that because this guy does it.
You know what? Steal anything.
Steal anything.
Nobody cares.
All right, cool.
No one cares.
All right, here comes our new segment, Mike Unleashed.
3 questions with Mike. Go, Mike.
3 questions with Mike.
Beautiful. And speaking of that, we actually do have some segments that are driven by the personalities here. And I know one, Roger. So Roger Matthews, his middle name is Rocker. Legit. His middle name is Rocker. What do you think?
It's on my license.
I like it.
Yeah.
So we call him Rock. And Rock, we came up with something for him. It's called Rock the Boat. You see where I'm going with that?
it.
And I think he had something related to March Madness.
Yeah, I guess it's like an unpopular take, this new Rock the Vote segment. So being at March Madness, we were talking about what everyone thinks about March Madness, where it sits on the Mount Rushmore of sporting events.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the first one to say that March Madness is the most overrated sporting event that's out there.
He's coming at it pretty hard.
Yeah, it really is. It's like,
Shots fired.
First of all, who the hell is paying attention to college basketball anymore? This ain't the 90s when you got the Ray Allens, the good college basketball players that we had back in the 90s when they stayed for a little bit. Now it's just like these dudes, they come in, they play for a year, they leave. I can't name one college basketball player this year.
Yeah, but they're not paying attention for that reason. They're paying attention because of the bracket.
So that's exactly why I feel like it's overrated.
NFL
that's exactly why I feel March Madness is overrated, because nobody gives a shit about college basketball. They give a shit about their little bracket. Like, I filled the bracket out. Yeah, I filled this thing out. I'm like, I don't know, Houston. Give me Houston. Right. Nobody. That's what everyone's doing. So it's like, it's a gambling thing now. Nobody cares about the games. Right. It's an overrated thing. It's just like, I feel like college basketball in general is just overrated. When you get to the Final Four, people care about the games. But I agree with you. Like these other games, like it was charming that Princeton won, because Arizona, everybody can hate Arizona. You know.
You know what though? I got to push back, and here's why I'll push back. You watch a lot of pro sports. Like you watch an NBA game, and for the most part, you know they're trying hard. But like you watch a March Madness basketball game, you watch that Virginia versus what was it, Furman?
Yeah,
Furman game today. Like, these kids are leaving it on the court because this could be their
last
time.
That's fine, but you can go watch a high school game where kids are leaving it all on the court.
But they're obviously better than high school, and the stakes are higher. The tournament is full of magic moments because these guys are busting their ass from baseline to baseline
hating on
every
March Madness.
You're a communist, man. Hating on March Madness.
Listen, say what you will, but I think March Madness is the most overrated sporting event right now. And
you know what? Rock, this is a great debut for Rock the Boat.
And I'm going to give you one more. The most underrated sporting event, and I think you guys might agree with me on this, it's the Masters.
No, I like the Masters.
I love the Masters. But
what's underrated about the Masters? Yeah. There's nothing else going on in April, and it's the only sporting event.
It's not underrated because
I feel like it's underrated,
March Madness is friggin' incredible.
It's too haughty to be underrated.
Yeah.
It's like a blue-blood elitist thing, the Masters.
I guess that takes me back to my Penn Charter days, you know.
Yeah, of course. Listen, March Madness isn't what it used to be, but it's still it's
overrated.
I think the first rounds.
Yeah, the first round is incredible.
I don't like it when a lower seeded team gets to the Final Four. I don't like that. And a lot of people think that's cool. I don't. I like to see the best teams advance.
Well, see, I used to think that way, but nowadays, the lower seeded teams probably played together for 4 years. They play better basketball than these kids who come and play for 1 year together.
St. Peter's, baby.
Yeah, it's just the way it is nowadays in college basketball. I would rather see a team that is cohesive and knows how to, like Princeton today. You think they would have beat Arizona in any other year where Arizona had a few years playing together? No,
and they're
all one and done guys. So they don't give a shit. Princeton plays together. They care about each other, and they know how to,
but you know what's
to win
amazing
those
to
kind
me?
of games.
To further
they won't
your
win
point,
the next round.
Princeton loses by 20 next round.
They play Furman, don't they?
Listen, if Princeton goes to Arizona during the regular season, very unlikely they're going to win. But that's the beauty of the tournament, because the higher seeds, you can see them. They start to tighten up, and then anything is possible.
Yeah, because it's the pressure on
them. You look at it like Arizona, they just win this game. They're like, it's a blowout. We'll just walk through this game, right? So that's kind of how.
And then their butts got really tight.
Yeah, their asshole got tight.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just think college basketball in general is just watered down these days, man. You don't got no more Fab Fives.
But to say this shit is overrated, Rock, please.
It is overrated,
It's so
man.
much fun, man.
Did you watch? You care about what's going on with who got Orland Roberts?
I don't care about anything, but I'd like watching.
Oral Roberts, and I heard Mike talking about Kennesaw. Kennesaw State the other night.
Kennesaw.
Learn
how to pronounce the school. Come talk to me.
Exactly. Nobody gives a shit about these games, man.
Hey,
they care about that bracket, though.
My son.
Have any of you guys ever won a bracket pool?
Yeah, I have. Everyone's won one in their life.
I don't play.
I won one year. It was
no, I don't play.
You're out.
I used to tell people, I didn't want to go through the bother of it, right? So when I was covering college basketball, I'm like, let me see your bracket. I go, I don't play. They go, why? I go, it's like Da Vinci entering a paint by numbers contest. so like that was my excuse to get out of the brackets.
You know what's funny? This episode, this whole thing is saving me from my annual exercise of watching all the games and like pulling out my bracket and being like, ugh, and like
you got Penn State tonight?
Crossing them all up. You know the funny thing is, Mike, I'll be honest with you, like between the brackets that my friends do, like Fink's got one, my other buddy's got one, the law firm's got one. I'm in so many, I start hedging my bets. So guess what? I got Penn State. I got Texas A&M. You know what you got to do is you got to make sure you don't pick all.
It's become a hassle to fill these fucking things out, man.
That's a violation. You're doing multiple brackets.
I'm doing like 4 or 5. I'm all over the place.
That's a violation.
That's a violation.
Yeah, it is because it's like playing the lottery. It's like there's no expertise in there.
Yeah, you buy 5 Powerball tickets instead of 1.
Come up with your selection.
Now, you just triggered something that I wanted to talk about, which I think is a funny story, and I wanted you to take on this because you and Anthony were always big on the violations,
Yes.
right? That was kind of the thing
Yeah.
you guys did. We love that. That's amazing. So I used to frequent the Mike Missinelli Open.
Yes.
Back in the early days.
Oh yeah, we played in
Because
that.
I was networking back then. I was like, I'm coming to Mike. I'd be talking to Sal Pal on the driving range. So Rock was always in my foursome because we had like 4 guys that could play. Not like the freaking ringer groups you'd bring in though that finished.
Come on, there were some guys cheating out there.
They were ringer groups that I bring.
I don't know. There was always like they're 20 on there.
I never brought in anybody.
No, he didn't bring these people in. These people were just cheating.
Whatever.
They were like,
Doesn't matter.
Because anybody can get into those tournaments, right?
Besides the
You
point.
pay your fee.
I used a family used to pay to play with me.
Right. Yeah, and they were good.
Right.
They were pretty good. Like they had 2 big brothers.
By the way, if they weren't raising money, I'd say you outlaw the paid mulligan. I hate the paid mulligan. You know what I mean? That's just
well, you're raising money for
Yeah,
charity,
raising
man.
money.
What are we doing here?
It's all for the kids, Jesse.
By the
for
way,
Christ's sake.
Listen, we're at 5-iron golf, okay? I'm talking about
Talking
golf.
about golf.
It's relevant. Okay, but here's my story, Mike. So we bring a foursome to your outing, and one of the guys I worked with at a law firm, and he joined kind of last minute. So we come. We're at the after situation, and he wins the raffle for the Vegas trip. They were giving away a Vegas golf trip, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're all sitting there, and we're going through it, like, oh, I didn't win. He's like, I got it. And we're all like, oh shit, hell yeah. And I'm like, I brought this guy, I invited him. He never talked to me about that again.
That's a violation.
Never talked to me about it again.
You got to be on that trip.
Yeah, am I right?
Yeah.
He just went like, I like you, but I'm going to bring my buddies. And I'm like, I think I might even paid for the guy to come.
Wait, was this a Vegas trip for multiple people, like
Yeah.
a group of 5 or something, and he didn't even invite you?
No.
Wait, was this the kid that I was with?
Yeah, you were there.
Oh man.
Do you believe we talked about it? I was
Yeah,
like,
that's definitely a
Our
violation.
podcast is now about personal vendettas.
Hell yeah.
Let's go. All right. So I think we
Mike
got
Miss Open was always a great time, by the way.
That was a
we
great
always
time.
loved
We
that.
had a lot of fun doing
Rock wanted you to start off the podcast by hitting your drive. like
Your
you
inaugural
did.
drive. I
But
want you to.
was like,
You want me to hit a drive, or I thought we were
No,
hitting
I wanted to hit your closest to the pen and set the
to
bar.
start it.
You know what I mean?
To start it with a drive, like you did the Mike Miss Open. I was like, let's
Oh,
let him
yeah.
ease in a
Let
little
me tell
bit.
you something. That was pressure.
I know. I remember every time. But you did pretty well.
Everybody's wanting me to fuck up.
And they'll all talk
Like,
shit
hey,
on
like
you.
shank something. or
You would put it down
stall
there though every
something.
time. I remember every time you boom right
I
down the
remember
middle.
you
That's because
doing well.
I respond under pressure, bro.
All right, so just a couple more exercises here before we let you go here, Mike. Let's go over to, we usually have Fink in the Fink tank. It's not as much of a Fink tank today, but you kind of got it going on. Fink, do you have your thing of questions? We got some questions. So we're starting a new thing.
I lost
His
random
briefcase
question.
of questions.
Yeah, he's got a bulletproof briefcase of questions. Fink, what's the name of the segment again?
Answer the Finkin question.
Answer the thinking question, Mike.
Okay.
So there are a bunch of random questions in there, and he's going to pull them out, and he's going to ask you, and you're going to answer the thinking question.
Okay.
Whatever it is.
Sounds good.
We haven't done this before, Mike. This could go any direction. Let's see how it
He
goes.
can either ask
Look
you
at
a question or you can play him in backgammon.
He's got.
Hold
Yeah,
it
what
up
was in
really
that
nice.
case before
Yeah.
these questions?
Don't worry about
All right.
All right, here we go. We got the first thinking question.
it. What is your favorite Philly sports figure of all time? Who?
Julius Irving.
Oh,
Smooth.
Let me tell you my Julius Irving story. Now since you brought it up. So I'm doing a magazine story on him, and he used to live in Villanova. He had this beautiful house in Villanova, and back in his veranda that overlooked his backyard. So I'm in there, and he's rolling. I'm asking him good questions, and he's rolling, and I'm recording the whole thing. He's got a Nikita. So the Nikita's sniffing around me, and I'm still on this side of the table. He's sitting in a chair, and the Nikita comes under the table and starts humping my leg. Now I'm interviewing Julius Irving, and I'm thinking to myself,
What do you do?
I can't fuck this up. Like I got to take one for the team here. Like I can't stop the interview. Go, Julius, your dog's humping my leg.
Just stick it out a little further.
So my commitment to journalism was such that I took the key to banging my leg and never missed a beat on the interview.
that's professionalism right there. Hope the dog didn't
And
finish.
by the way, can I just say, this is exactly the kind of stuff I was hoping would come from Answer the Thinking question. Fink, what is next? I can't wait.
How's your dog doing, Mike? By the way, while he's pulling that
My
next
dog's
question
great,
out.
man. Yeah, my little Shiba Inu that I wrote the book about because she's such a maniac.
Oh, I missed those stories on air.
I swear to God, this dog has a human brain. It's like, it's a weird breed, but like, they think. You look at them and they go, "Hey, she's thinking of this."
Definitely.
Anyway.
All right, Fink, what do you
We got
got?
the next question. All time, your favorite head coach to interview and the worst.
Well, Cheney's my favorite. I got to be really close with Cheney.
I bet that's the
so
worst
let me pull out
too.
Let me pull out another Cheney story because he respected me because I would go back at him. Like I would argue about basketball with him, and he got really close to me. We got really close, and so
he'd invite you out to lunch and shit, right?
Oh yeah, we
meet him at Walnut Lane.
We were doing a show together on CNBC about Prop 48. They invited me to be part of the panel. He was already up there, and he said, "What are you doing after the show?" I got nothing. He goes, "I got a limo for 2 hours." So he takes the limo to Barney's in New York City. He's like a clothes maniac.
Yeah,
like,
really?
Oh yeah, he like everything.
Yeah, he
is
was
high
big
price. Now, he would be disheveled during the game, but all his clothes were expensive. Like we got in there, and he went right to the $800 shoes. Like he's lining up. Boom, he's got a couple pair here. He must have spent $20,000 a day.
No.
Yeah. So anyway, but that's not the story I want to tell you. The story I want to tell you, I'm covering the Temple, West Virginia game. And West Virginia has a crazy Coliseum thing, and they always sell out. It's like 15,000 people. And they had a mascot that used to shoot off a live musket, like, poof! And you would never know when it was going to happen. It would startle the shit out of you. So and he felt the tension of that place because they all had Cheney masks and stuff like that. So I see this official that I know he doesn't like. And I go, man, it's going to be fireworks. He hates this guy. So sure enough, the guy makes a bad call early on. Cheney jumps off the bench. He's yelling, screaming. Boom, guy gives him a technical foul. The next one, he's going to be thrown out. And I know it's going to happen. So like 7 minutes later, the guy makes another bad call. He goes berserk. He gets off. He like charges onto the floor to the point where the West Virginia troopers have to come onto the floor and grab him. And he's trying to fight the troopers, and he's in a beef with one of the troopers. He's barking at the trooper. So they get him off the floor, and now it's halftime. I go, man, I got to go in the locker room and see what's up with, he might give me some good stuff. So I go in there. He's sitting on the bench like this. And I go, you all right? He goes, yeah, that motherfucking Bova. Like, that was the name of the official. I go, yeah, but you had this thing going on with the trooper. I go, what was that conversation about? He said, he grabbed me around the neck, and I said, get your hands off me, you Barney Fife motherfucker. He went Barney Fife on the guy. It was hysterical. He was the best. But the worst guy, I got two right. I could do it. Rolly Massimino and I battled like nobody's business. And me and Jim Fregosi went head-to-head. Now, both those guys are Italians, which means like two hard-headed Italians were going at each other. But they were miserable to cover. They were pain in the ass.
Miserables.
Oh, God.
All right, let's grab one more here, Fink. We unravel it.
Stranded on an island with one other Philly sports personality, who would it be and why?
Charles.
That's a good one.
Seriously. No, he like, if you listen to the shows, he would come on every year and co-host a show with me, and they were always the best. His stories were outrageous, and he would just like pop them out of nowhere. And the one story,
it's almost like he's got too many stories. He doesn't remember them.
I have a story. Like he was at the tail. He hated playing with bad players, and he hated Armand Gilliam and Charles Shackelford. If you remember that dude, it was a stiff. He was a center. He was a stiff. So they're on a losing streak, and he says Harold Katz was the owner of the team. He comes to practice one day. He's like sitting watching practice. So Charles goes, "I know something's up now." So I forget who was coaching Matty Good because he goes, Harold wants to talk to everybody. So he goes, they get in the locker room, and he puts the chairs in a semicircle. So all the players are in a semicircle. And Harold goes, all right, I want you guys to tell me what you think is wrong with this team right now that we're losing. So first guy gets up and gives him a stock answer. Like, Harold, I don't think we're committing to defense. And the next guy gets up and goes, no, we're not rebounding real well. So Charles, what do you think? And Charles goes, you really want me to tell you? And he goes, of course, that's why I'm here. I want an honest opinion of what we think's happening to this team. He goes, I'll tell you why we're losing, Harold. Because these two motherfuckers, Shackelford and Gilliam, suck. Right? And he said they both charged him. And he was sitting on a stool, and he picked up the stool and ward him off like it was a lion tamer.
Like a lion tamer.
Keeping it real, man.
Great.
Did they win that game?
It was a practice.
No. Oh, practice. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was a practice. It was after a practice.
Well, it must have been awkward after that. Okay, Fink, I think that was a great debut for.
We got one more.
Oh, you got one more?
Just because
better be good.
Rock asked it, and I think it's a good one. Is Villanova a Philly school?
Yeah. They are. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. I'm not a big Villanova fan. In fact, I think it's great that they lost in the NIT. I think it's fantastic. And Penn State's still playing, and they're not. But, yeah, I mean, come on, man. They're right down the street.
Right.
You know, how far are they away from the Philly limit? People don't want them to be.
That's like a half an hour on a Friday in traffic, man. That's outside the city.
Yeah, I know. You know what it's like?
It's like a half hour to get to Chestnut Hill.
It's like how people perceive Penn Charter. It's like
whoa.
It's an elitist
hate.
thing that regular Philadelphians don't really identify.
Hey, look, I was there on scholarship, Mike. I was a good ball player.
Ryan, you're a baller. You're a football player.
Football, basketball.
Was Matt Ryan there when you were there?
No, we're old, man. I ended up playing lacrosse there, random as hell.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where'd you go to high school?
Penn Charter.
Penn Charter. But where did you go to college after that?
Drexel.
DU. Drexel?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't play any college. I played club lacrosse for about 3 games. I was like, this is below me. I'm out of here. I'm going to go party. I'm going to go party, man.
You.
I played like 3 games and dropped like 20 goals, man. It's just like, I probably should, like, one of my regrets in life is maybe like not pursuing being a little bit more of a college lacrosse player, because I probably could have made the team. But
there's
whatever.
nowhere to go with lacrosse.
Anyway,
all right, we're going to finish.
That was Mark's question, by the way, the Villanova.
That
wasn't me.
Well, that's
sorry, not on Rock.
Mark Goodhart, our sponsor, is a Temple guy, and he would have
vehemently. He's probably loving it too.
He would have said
Temple's having a hard time.
Yeah, it's not so good. Okay, Meech, I know you had something for us on Knock It Off. So we also have a segment with Meech where he gets really pissed off about something. So Meech, are you pissed off about something?
Yeah, listen, I'm not. It's the end of the show. I'm not really that pissed off about it now. I've had a good time with
we'll get pissed
Mike
off.
Missinelli right now. But if you want me to do my Knock It Off segment, I was at a wedding last weekend, right? And I know Fink is going to a wedding tomorrow, and he's
always going.
Shout out Nick and Marine. Love them.
I'm a huge sneaker guy. I love sneakers. I have like 80 pair of sneakers. I love all sorts of Jordans, old school sneakers.
You like my turbos?
But
pretty good.
I love them.
Cool, thank you.
But so many guys are wearing fucking sneakers to weddings now.
Yeah.
I went to a wedding last Saturday night at the Wanamaker building. What's that? The Crystal Tea Room.
Yeah.
Beautiful wedding. So much the atmosphere. So much love. The atmosphere was beautiful. And then I see some weirdo in like a powder blue suit with some UNC Jordan 5s. He looks like Jeff fucking Daniels from Dumb and Dumber.
It's a fine line. The wedding, I think, is over the top. You can't wear sneakers.
Listen, man, if you want to wear a suit and sneakers to a regular formal event, but when you're going to a high-class wedding...
Step it up.
Step it up.
Wait, are you talking about the wedding party itself? Because I think that's way overdone and super corny.
No, I'm talking about being a guest to the wedding.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, if you're part of the wedding party and that's their thing to wear sneakers, whatever, do whatever. But if you're a guest at the wedding,
I can't wear sneakers
and especially
tomorrow?
in a high-end place, wear some dress shoes.
He's pushing the trend. That's what he's doing.
Sell your pair of sneakers that you thought were cool and buy a pair of dress shoes with it, because it'll look much nicer. You can wear these Jordan 5s any goddamn night of the week. You can wear them Monday, Tuesday, whatever. You don't have to wear them to the wedding.
Did you tell him that to his face?
I did, and
Did he punch you in the face?
It's not a comfortable thing to do,
He's
but
like, yo, what's up with the shoes, man?
it's like why do you do it?
What did you say to him?
Knock it off. He said, knock that shit off.
Basically, knock it off. Like what's making you wear the shoes? And I don't know, they're nice shoes. And
Okay, but here's the thing, Mike. Your kind of brethren started this thing, right? All
But
these
I love
guys
sneakers.
that are on
That's the
ESPN,
thing.
That doesn't
they're
look
doing
bad
that.
on TV.
But I see it in like ESPN and shit when they're
they
doing
all
that.
wear sneakers.
That's
They,
okay,
they
you're
all
there
wear
every day.
sneakers with their suits, and like there's no reason for it, man.
Dan
Like,
Orlovsky started that whole
I
thing.
think it's because sneakers have
He
become
goes wearing
so
sneakers
expensive now
with thin
that-
cut suits.
that they want to show off their expensive sneakers, but you
No,
look
it's just-
better in
it's-
just a regular pair of dress shoes,
But
man.
it's the sneakers have taken the hipness up to a level.
Yeah.
So everybody's got to play into
And
that.
by the
I
way,
think
dress shoes are awful.
I think
they're
that,
so uncomfortable. And
I think the
terrible.
old school sneakerheads like Meech and I, like who've been in the sneakers since we were like little kids.
No one cares.
It just seems
And-
this is
and on the
this
same
is
level,
corny and it's
I've,
tacky. It's very tacky.
I also got
guys,
What did you just say? Dress shoes are
Air
awful?
Jordan 3s came out
Were you
last
shopping
week.
at Payless?
No, but there's. I
Get
mean, like,
yourself a damn nice pair of shoes.
you can go to like Cole Haan and
What
get
money
some,
you
know?
have?
You might.
Rendell walking around with bad shoes.
Hey,
Come
let's
on.
go easy, bro.
Got a
You know?
Macy's, bro. They got nice shoes there.
City Pigeons Podcast ain't exactly paying dividends right now. Nah, we're doing great. Okay, Mike. So here's what we're gonna do.
But listen,
go ahead, Mike.
not
The other Mike.
Knock it
But
off.
then I also got a pair of sneakers this week. It was the Air Jordan 3 Reimagines. I struck out on Nike. I struck out on every raffle I could get. And then I asked my buddy Brian from Lapstone. I said, yo, you got any size 12s left? He hooked me up. I'm so appreciative. Brian Nadav, I love you, man. Lapstone
and Hammer.
Do
we need that part of the story? I'm not so sure we needed that.
You could talk about somebody who stole mine.
Mike, he took the opportunity to shout out this guy.
Here's another thing. This sneaker, which was released in 1988, the Air Jordan 3, is everyone's saying like this is the sneaker of the year. This is everyone get this. No, it was the sneaker of the year in 1988. Right. You can't call that the sneaker of the year that came out in 1988 the sneaker of the year in 2023. That's like saying,
hey, if you want to sell a bunch of them, you can.
Like you remember when the Star Wars movies got refurbished and came back out in 19. That's like saying they were
he's so cause oriented. He's like spouting white people problems over here.
Somebody stole my pair, by the way. FedEx.
That's messed up.
That's far
I still feel bad.
FedEx stole my package. Yeah. So there it is.
I feel bad for you. Okay. Here's the thing. We could keep Mike here because he does need to stay up to watch the Penn State game.
Penn State starts at 9:55. By the way.
What's your prediction, Mike? What's your prediction for Penn State game tonight?
I like him a little bit, but I'm a little nervous about it.
A little nervous. What's the line telling you there?
They play so well together, though. I can see that they'll slay this team.
You think some shekels on the money line?
I stay away from it.
Okay.
I stayed away from tonight.
So,
I don't want to put any bad voodoo on it.
It's 9/11. We've been going for some time, which happens when you're having a pleasant discourse. But we can't keep Mike here until 9:55. So here's what we're going to do. Mike, I think this only right if we end this with a bang. Okay. We're going to get you over here. Here's what I'd like to do. I want a one-on-one matchup because I think Rock is the best member of the City Pigeons team to take you on.
Golfer?
Yeah, from a golf perspective.
If you want to play tomorrow, I'm up at Bluestone, man, with my homies tomorrow. Yeah, come through and hit a couple balls with us, man.
Let's go. It's going to be nice
close.
tomorrow.
60 degrees.
Listen, you work that out after the show.
All right,
here's the deal.
All right,
I think you both get. Tom, can you set this up? I think you both get a couple shots here. So go ahead, Mike. Let him out and let him work his way over. I'm going to commentate this one over here. Rock, get out of there. Please don't trip over any of these wires because the whole thing is going to absolutely go to hell in a handbasket.
If Mike wins, I let him win. Just a little precursor.
I think we've got a battery change on the camera or something. Aleko scrambling. All right, we're good to go. So Mike is going to approach the ball here on his first shot. Does he have 3? Okay, he's got 3. All right, and he's nice and he's taking it nice and easy. He's approaching the ball. All right, now guys, somebody hit. You know what's funny? Tom, you leaned on the buzzer. Someone leaned on the buzzer that's in the bag, like in his backswing. I've never seen anything like that. Mike, we're going to chalk that up to distraction.
That was
All right, here we go.
somebody else.
All right, it's off the toe a little bit. All right, here we go. We're going to, hey, this is the last chance.
Yeah.
Here we go.
To be fair, we've been hitting them all night, Mike. You can get it.
That's true, but Rock hasn't, so we got to see what he has. He could
Rock
be.
was hitting them for about an hour before we started.
Oh, they're coming off
I
the
was
toe.
talking in the backswing. Get
All
that
right,
back, Mike. Get
Rock.
that back.
Yeah, it's tough. They're not the clubs. Okay, let's see what happens here. Does he get another shot? Hold on, Mike. It didn't reset yet. Mike, he won the hole according to this. Okay, Mike, it reset. Okay, so first maiden voyage, struggled a little bit. Rocky is yawning on the couch. I don't know if he's ready for this. Meanwhile, I've been left.
I think Rock's ready.
I've been left completely on my own. Mike,
I'm
Meech,
sorry.
can you get in here? Can you get in here? Can we get a little friendly banter?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Sorry,
commentate
man.
this a little. All right, Mike's going to
I
take
didn't
another
mean to leave
shot.
you by yourself.
Here we go.
That's a shot.
All right, he's wet. He's got 2 more. I feel like he's getting the tempo down a little bit because the first couple were toe bangers, but now he's staying behind it a little bit. Here we go. He's got 108. He's got 108 into the pin. Wind is pretty calm. Beautiful day here. Looks a little thin. Get up. Get up. Yeah! Oh, look at that. Look at that. Okay, folks. Mike missed.
Now there's the
he
shot
settled
right
in.
there.
Got one more.
And anybody who plays golf knows you got to kind of get warmed up. So this is who he is. 25 feet. Let's see if he can improve. He's got one more swing. All right. Hey, I don't know. Rocky. All right.
I don't think a minute should go in 6.
All right, let's see this. Here we go. Rocky versus Mike Miss in the first ever City Pigeons Legends Golf Face-Off. We're just off the cuff here, folks. Meech, what do you think about this?
I don't think he's going to get it. I mean,
you know what?
He was yawning on the couch.
I believe in Rock.
It looks like
he
he's
was yawning on the couch. He was yawning on the couch. Let's see. Let's see here. Oh, right off the bat, he struck it.
That's right there.
That looks long, though. Oh, it's short. Okay, wait.
Short.
That's not 25 feet, I don't believe.
That's not it.
Not good enough.
Oh, 48 feet ain't going to get it done. But can we say he struck the ball
Yeah, it
pretty
was
well?
pretty nice.
It was a clean.
So
Yeah.
now he knows he's got to adjust a little. This
Clean
is
swipe.
getting dramatic, folks. Here we go. Second approach.
Oh,
I didn't like
good.
that one. No, he ham-boned that out to the right. Nope, that's Bunker City.
Oh, last one.
He's got one more chance in
That's
beat
just on,
Mike
dude.
Miss. This is unbelievable.
It's going to be tough, Rock.
What's he going to do? Is he going to throw this to make Mike feel good, or is he going to try to beat him? You know he wants to beat him.
He's trying to beat me. Look at him.
He's nervous.
Okay, here we go. Oh, he hit it right again. Mike Miss
That's
is
fake
going
right.
to be
That's
the
fake right.
champion. All right, there we go.
Mikey Miss.
Hey.
What a win, my man.
I shanked 7 of them.
Thank you, sir. Hey, thank you so much for being here. I know that you're a busy man. We appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to join us. And, hopefully at some point, maybe down the road, we can do it again.
Thank you, Mike.
Best of luck.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Hey, great having you. All right.
My man.
That's it for the night, folks. We'll be back at
Thanks,
some point
5 Iron
soon.
Golf.
5 Iron Golf. Shout out. Good Heart Firm. Everybody who came out. Love you guys. And we'll get them next time.
Shout out my Uncle John.
Peace.
He's been mad at me for that.
Was it Vinny or Maximus? Who got the W?
Let's
Max
go.
did. I already shouted him out.
Shout out, Max.